Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson.
Oh, Steve and Larson! Don't you dare be sour. Clap for yourselves and feel the power. Yes. And all you people out there, you're watching Going In Raw with Steve and Larson.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you can be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, of course, taped live here at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. We got a packed weekend coming up. Takeover is tomorrow night. We'll be broadcasting live from around 3:30 Pacific. And then, of course, the show itself, we're going to be doing our live reactions throughout over on the YouTube at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Back over here to the Twitch for our recap. Same thing for SummerSlam.
That's 3 o'clock on Sunday Pacific time, I believe.
Okay. And then that's our weekend. So come join us. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to be zooming in. I told the enforcer was like, hey, do you guys want me for this stuff? I said, of course. If you're there, if you're available, we'd love to have the enforcer there. So the enforcer is going to be with us. He adds a lot. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody on Twitter that wished me happy birthday here in the Twitch chat. Appreciate it very much.
You've made it yet another year.
I don't feel a day over 65. I really don't.
You are now qualified to be AARP, I think,
That's
right?
true. I can finally collect my Social Security.
Even more important, you can
What
go to
a glorious
Denny's. You
day
can get
this
like
is.
10% off at Denny's. It's pretty exciting stuff.
I mean, there's some perks to getting old.
It's all good stuff.
And I listed all of them right there.
Really quick before we get started, before we talk about Thunderdome, I want to give a shout out. I want to give our condolences to Brian Zane. He lost his mom today, and man, our hearts and thoughts go out to you, Brian Zane.
Definitely.
Friend of the show, and he said that I guess he's not going to be doing a Smackdown review, but he's going to be in full force this weekend for all the festivities. So Wrestling with Regret, really just a terrific, groundbreaking wrestling channel. Go check it out if you haven't.
Definitely.
A good friend of ours.
Yep.
So the Thunderdome is here, Larson. Smackdown debut of Thunderdome. This giant Zoom call board of people, a really elaborate light show with pyro and lasers and stuff going on. I'll be honest, I liked it better than the PC. I thought there did seem to be
there's one massive glaring issue with it.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Audio. So you got all these people sitting around. Nobody's reacting, though. And that's why you have fans in the crowd, to react, to make noise. And if everybody's just sitting around,
they're doing this. Some people are doing this
with
their thumbs.
With their thumbs.
This is if everybody's doing this, it'd be terrible.
Most people are just doing this. That's what most people are doing. So the structure, amazing.
Yeah,
the light show, amazing. Yeah. The pyro, the lasers, all that. The spectacle of it is great.
Yeah.
The issue is you have 1,000 people, something like that. Plus I have 1,000 LED boards in the crowd.
It really should be 1,000, but it felt more like 100.
It felt small in terms of number, not in terms of size. You have people there, and I understand it's kind of weird to be sitting at home and making a huge amount of noise over whatever's happening on a TV show that you're watching on your TV. You're not there live. I understand that. But there's a disconnect with the little crowd noise they're piping in, and because that was even way low in the mix, and what I'm seeing with my eyes on the screen. So either they tell people watching at home, hey, be really animated and overdo it with your reactions, and find a way to make the audio reflect what the fans are actually doing.
Yeah.
Because right now it's hard not to look at the people on Zoom around the ring. Like one person was sleeping, it's a good idea. Granted, it's the first episode. I'm sure they realize there's potential issues that they still have to work out. I get it. Everything else about it looks great. As a spectacle, it's great. Honestly, I get the idea of wanting fans there. If they didn't do the Zoom call aspect of it and just kept the pure spectacle of it in the arena, that alone is a huge upgrade over the Performance Center, even if there's not a person in the crowd. Because you can still have some stuff going on in the background on all those LED boards. That's what we thought would happen at WrestleMania. They do something like that. They get LED boards all around there, make the entrances really fancy, really elaborate, with a bunch of graphics and crap all over the place. They're kind of doing that here, and it's cool. I don't know. It just feels like there needs to be more. They want this to be an interactive fan experience. Fans watching the show on their computers or TVs with a camera on them isn't exactly interactive.
Well, it's like the lowest form of interactivity. I guess they're there. Okay, so let's pick apart a little bit of what you said one by one. The audio, I really hope, is a product of it just being the first time, and maybe they'll tweak it. I'll be honest with you. I simply don't. The audio is a tricky thing, because here's the thing. The audio is a tricky thing. I'm not a fan of low crowd morale. I'll do this. I'll start with my positives first. I thought it looked great. I thought even my thing when anybody would come out and they would have like just light stuff going on behind them.
It's great.
To me personally, I don't think that was as effective as even fans just doing this. When I was watching the matches for the first like couple of matches, I would get distracted by the crowd. Mm-hmm. But then I thought about it. People get distracted by live crowds anyways. How often have we heard, how often has that vampire guy been there? How often is that the Brock Lesnar guy been there? He's there all the time. What's his story? We get distracted by that stuff anyways. Maybe not as much as we would get distracted by this because the faces are so much bigger. I do think that they should pack in more Zoom calls, make the faces smaller. If that's possible. I think that would be an upgrade.
Yeah.
The audio thing, I really hope that they're able to find some way to generate crowd audio that doesn't just sound like a low, dull murmur.
I know. It feels canned. It's a murmur. Nothing about it. And I know it's
but I don't know how they can do that.
Piped in audio. Nothing about it feels spontaneous. And that's what's missing from the show, whether you have people at the Performance Center or even the Performance Center. There's some spontaneous reactions. I know they get on the loudspeaker and say, hey, cheer this person, boo this person, so on and so forth. But there's a really good match going on, like AJ and Daniel Bryan. I mean, like, people there at the Performance Center seemed into it, you know? We're not getting that with this, you know, because everybody's just, there's a certain level of self-consciousness, I'm sure, when you see your face at like 3 times the scale, if not larger, there on TV, and you're conscious of that. And so you're just.
If my thing is, though, if they had, so let's say, I mean, I don't know how many. I know there's like a still shot around here or something, but I don't know how many people were actually, let's say we're just looking at the hard cam.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many people we're looking at, but what do you think is like maybe 100, right? Like
towards hard cam, maybe. Yeah. I mean,
like maybe 5 up and down and then like 20 across or something like that.
In the press release for it, I think they said there's over 1,000 LED boards. I don't know if that includes, that's everything or just
each person. So. I don't know. I think that if you take a sample size of what people look like during a match in general, if you just take 10 or 100 random people,
totally. But here's the thing.
Reactions aren't going to be that huge.
I understand that, but when something happens, people in the crowd generally react more than just.
Yeah.
That's what's missing. That's what's missing from the whole packaging.
Yeah.
Whether it be Performance Center or this situation, even how AEW has it, is there's not a whole lot of spontaneous reaction from the crowd. There's no give and take between performer in the ring in the crowd. That's what's kind of missing.
And I don't know if that's even possible to capture without live people. And you're absolutely right. That is missing. And that's that weird thing. That audience is another character that they have to that the performers and the writers and Vince has to contend with, and that is missing. And if nothing else, Thunderdome is sort of giving us an interesting experiment into what ingredients matter most or factor into what makes wrestling such an effective form of entertainment. I mean, obviously for you and I think for most people, it starts with like really good creative. But then there are those elements that, you know, we're now seeing like a dissection of like, okay, well, if you remove the audience completely, like they did in the early days of, you know, just the performance center shows. Okay, if you add 50 people, but they're all being directed by Kevin Dunn to boo heels and to cheer faces, because we all know at this point, if there had been a live crowd and Sasha and Bayley had been on this exact same run, they would be getting cheered at this point. They are so damn good. That would be happening. Maybe not when they're facing off against Asuka, because I feel like she'd be getting cheered. I don't know. But you're right. There is that element that's missing, and I don't know if the technology is available to capture it. If nothing else, for me personally, when they're not on the hard cam, which is like the by and large static shot that we get, like at the opening of the show, when the lockdown, when the Fiend is approaching Vince McMahon and you see them from their sides, when we're not on that shot and the action is going on, I'm going to get used to that, because I was like, wow, this looks big. It looks like, I mean, this is as much interactivity. And deep down, I'm like, you know what? They can't have people there. They're not trying to have people there. And this isn't a shot at AEW, but it's like they're bringing fans in. And I'm not a huge fan of that.
I'm not either. I'm not. I mean, I think we were pretty diplomatic, maybe too much when we talked about initially that, you know, it's not my thing. I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
I feel like it's probably too early. You know, granted, they could take all the precautions they feel are necessary and enforce them. And if even doing all that, you're still introducing risk to the equation. I don't know if the technology exists to give us a genuine back and forth. You know, like you run the risk, you turn everybody's mic on, you don't know what's going to happen there. Even at a relatively low murmur, there's a latency issue potentially that I don't know if they've compensated for that just for the visual aspect.
Even if they're unable to compensate, like the latency where you're talking about, something happens in the ring and then they react to it 5 seconds later, which can be a lifetime when it comes to reactions. Even if that was narrowed down to like half a second, the idea of, you know, Zoom audio or mic audio, it might not even come across. It might just be a big
exactly.
Like that might even be worse. So I don't know that there's a way to fix that for right now, though. It's, I mean, for me personally as a fan, it's a pretty big step up from the Performance Center stuff. But what I said was it's still true for me. The creative matters most. And I did feel like, even if it was because Vince had a little kick in his step, creatively speaking, I thought SmackDown was pretty good tonight.
It wasn't bad. Yeah, it wasn't bad. Yeah. They hit some story beats that seemed necessary heading to SummerSlam. The end of the show, I don't know. That kind of missed the mark in my estimation. Saw it coming a mile away, and the execution of it was a little cartoonish.
The Fiend stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
My thought about that is, I guess just overall, this episode was a much better go home than the Raw go home. Yeah,
the bar was set very low by Raw.
The bar was set pretty low, yeah.
But there was some other good stuff going on. You know, one thing we didn't account for in our SummerSlam predictions was whatever role Retribution might play in this whole thing, because they're gonna make their presence known during the course of the show. I would guess.
Yeah. You're probably right. Let's get right into this, though.
Before we do that, thank you, Ricky Scurvy, for the bits.
Thank you, Ricky Scurvy. Now get out of the mod chat, Ricky Scurvy. I don't know why you're in mod chat. Anyways, McMahon introduces the show. Welcome to Thunderdome. And before he really says much of anything, he gets cut off. The lights go down in the Fiend fashion, and then the Fiend has his great entrance. That entrance really is $1 million. It
really is.
All red. He's got that creepy lantern. He gets in there. McMahon probably should have looked a little bit more freaked out than he did. I know he's Vince McMahon and he controls everybody, but this is
the same day they released that video of him doing that jump that Gronk didn't want to do.
We didn't talk about that. That was awesome. That was awesome. The
craziest part of it is, and granted, it's probably edited somewhat. He hops over the rail. He looks down once and just goes for it.
And the even crazier thing was, as soon as he hits the mat, he just does the, like, get it?
Yeah.
like nothing like that was a much bigger fall and crash than I thought it would have been. You know, I can understand why Gronk was hesitant to do it, but you see McMahon do it, it's like, wow, that's pretty impressive.
It's a decent fall. You see like a 2.5 foot crash pad underneath. You're like, okay, well, as long as I hit it, it's fine.
Yeah, as long as you hit it. That's kind of the thing, though, to like go and make sure you actually hit it. Like that, it always impresses the crap out of me when I see specifically Kevin Owens, and Mankind used to do this all the time, obviously. But when I see Kevin Owens, the number of things he's jumped off of, and even Shane McMahon, that they've jumped off of and hit perfectly. Yeah, that's insane.
There's something else, man.
Anyway, so the Fiend comes in. He goes with his tongue. McMahon sort of indicates that he wants to get past him because, God forbid, he'd go backwards.
Yeah, he tries to sidestep, and the Fiend just kind of sidesteps with him.
Yeah.
Why not just go backwards, rolls out of the ring, Vince? You're home free.
Yeah. So, anyways, he's about to get out. Fiend is looking like he's going to mess up Mr. McMahon. Instead, according to my notes here, Brain comes out, but that was auto-corrected from Braun. Braun comes down, smooth Braun. McMahon quantum leaps out.
Man, Braun he took a sweet time getting the ring, too.
He looks like it hurts when he walks, dude.
He was ambulating something really slowly.
The ambulators. He looks like it hurts when he walks.
It could. So there's a stare down between Braun and the Fiend. Lights start to flicker. Retribution circles the ring. Where did they come from? Braun gives a nod Bray gives a nod to Braun. Braun nods back. He's ready for a fight. And then Bray goes, bye-bye. Lights go down, lights come back up, Bray's gone.
Braun's pissed.
And so Braun has to take on Retribution all alone. They attack him, they beat him down. Half the Smackdown locker room runs out. Brawl breaks out, Retribution holds their own. The rest of the locker room comes out. They clear the ring. Then The Miz finally runs out to join in the fight.
You know what I thought of when that happened? You know what would actually be kind of cool if Miz was leading Retribution?
I know.
Wouldn't that I would actually be into that. I would totally be into the Miz, who like alternates depending on the year, seemingly, whether he's doing something I'm actually really into or something I could care less about, which is kind of where he's at right now. I'd actually be really into that. Probably not going to happen. It's probably just a gag on the fact that he likes to avoid, fighting.
He's essentially a coward. So Braun comes to, and then he beats the heck out of Drew Gulak and tosses Jey Uso out of the ring, and then he leaves.
Mm-hmm. So after that, we had Big E versus Sheamus. The locker room was still ringside, protecting them from Retribution.
It was like an unofficial lumberjack match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The lights flicker a little bit. We didn't see any more Retribution, though, did we?
No.
Okay. After that, so like during this match, it was actually a pretty cool match. It's a pretty physical match, too. Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on here. But during the match, at one point, Corbin just decides to go up to Matt Riddle. They go at it, which leads to the finish because Sheamus, who had the advantage at that point, gets distracted by that. Big E gets the roll-up victory over Sheamus.
Yeah. Like, why would you be distracted by that, Sheamus? Just concentrate on what you're doing.
Nobody. That's a standard trope, man. Seth is the worst at that.
Seth has tunnel vision. You play anybody else's music, he's staring at that ramp.
Like days.
Yeah.
Days.
He'll wait there for a year, waiting for somebody to come down that ramp.
Yeah,
play their music.
I like this match though. This is a physical match.
It was physical. It was hard hitting. It was good. After that, we have Jeff Hardy, the trainer's room. He's getting his knee tended to. He's like, "Yeah, somebody fell on me from behind. I didn't see what happened. You got a knee brace to put on it? Give me a knee brace. I want a knee brace. Put a knee brace on this knee.
Give me a knee brace. I need a knee brace. Give me a knee brace."
You sound like AJ.
Well, Hardy has a little bit of a accent. Sometimes, it comes out like mega cool.
Yeah. Next, we had a tag title match. Your champion, Cesaro and Nakamura, taking on Lucha House Party. Lucha House Party lost. Not surprising. What was surprising is that they were arguing about it afterwards.
Mega Kalisto.
Jack Kalisto, yeah.
Jack Kalisto seemed to take issue with him coming back and Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik losing this match.
Yeah, so Metalik was trying to play peacekeeper, keeping Lince and Kalisto apart.
Dude, but he could barely stand because of that freaking spot he took. He tried to do. I think it was supposed to be like a.
It was jump over the ropes Rana on a Cesaro. and he just took a
pretty much
flat back
missed
bump on the
everything.
floor.
Like his legs barely grace Cesaro. Cesaro, God bless his soul, still sold for it. Whenever Cesaro's in the ring with those guys, though, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, this was a really fun match.
So let me ask you this. So Nakamura hits a reverse exploder on Lindsay, and then seemingly unmotivated, he goes outside the ring to kick Metalik. Did he go out to check on him?
It's possible. That's entirely possible.
Because there was like no motivation really for him to do that.
Maybe he saw like something, and maybe he saw that happen sort of in a side view and wanted to double check on him, because it was an ugly. It wasn't like Gargano ugly, but it was ugly.
It looked like it sucked. I mean, he pretty much jumped over the top rope, took a flat back bump on the floor from there. That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah, it sucked.
It sucked. So anyways, he gets back in the ring. Nakamura goes for Kinshasa. Lindsay evades that. He hits his springboard stunner. Kind of drives Nakamura to his corner. Cesaro tags himself in. He goes for a swing. Lindsay counters. This is actually really impressive because Lindsay had to do like a full sit-up. Counters with a victory roll. Cesaro kicks out. And then Lindsay goes for a roll-up, and then Cesaro reverses that roll-up into a roll-up of his own to get the win, and that's what Lucha House Party were arguing amongst the three of them. Lindsay pushes over Kalisto. Metalik is like, hey, no fighting.
Even that last little roll-up combo thing that Cesaro and it was awesome. It was
like
great.
Lindsay was going for like a Dragon Rana or something like that. Where you do the Hurricane Rana and then roll up afterwards. And Cesaro's like, I can't explain it. Like blocked it and then rolled him up. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to explain.
It was great. I really liked it. After that, more Jeff Hardy. He was in the trainer's room.
I want a knee brace.
I want a knee brace. Give me a knee brace. And then Michael Cole and Corey Graves are like, okay, so we've seen Jeff. He said that somebody landed on his knee or got him from behind. Let's take another look during the Retribution. And then, AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy were near each other. AJ saw him and went after that knee right there.
He kicked it right in the back of the leg.
Right in the back of the leg. And then AJ, it shows him watching on the monitor.
He took the Larson bar fight technique. Kick him in the leg.
Yeah. Well, you always said that you would go to the front of the knee, right?
Yeah, the front of the knee. I'm going to go for the back. I'd probably go, if you're scoring up with somebody, you kick him in the front of the knee.
So in your mind, would it explode backwards like in a Steven Seagal movie?
I'm thinking like, remember Napoleon McCallum when when his knee went full on backwards when he got tackled?
You have to kick pretty hard for that.
I know.
In my mind,
a super duper kick.
Yeah, in my mind, it's like an explosion going through the knee. That'd be great. So, anyways, he's there at the monitor. He gets interviewed real quick, and he was like, "Well, Jeff Hardy wasn't showing urgency. AJ Styles has a sense of urgency." And he's like, but you know what? I'm tired of this. He runs into the golden role model, Sasha Banks and Bayley. They all say hi, bump titles, and they move on.
Yeah.
After that, Mandy Rose gets an interview, and she's like, hey, let me address Sonya Deville into the camera. And she says, listen, I know there's still good in you. Let's just put all this behind us. I don't know if she was insinuating that she wanted just to not have a match. She wanted to have some wine a la Tegan Nox, Candice LeRae, or what. But she was like, let's go back to where we were before all of this.
Well, yeah, I think the implication is let's talk it out. Let's make amends. No match.
Boring. After that, we had I much prefer Sonya Deville's way.
Man, that was great.
Yeah, it was amazing. We had Sasha and Bayley with an interview with Corey Graves, who's just trying to mix things up. The first thing he asked, Larson, are you two splitting up?
No.
They were like, no. Ding dong.
Who's there? Oh, gosh.
We got all the gold. And then so he's asking about Asuka. They're very defensive about it. Bayley tries to backtrack a bit because he brings up the fact that she said that she volunteered to go first at SummerSlam to face Asuka, to sort of weaken Asuka going to her match against Sasha. And she backtracks, so she's like, well, that was just a suggestion. And Sasha's like, wait a second, are you trying to volunteer me again? So they're finally bringing that out in the open, which I really like. And Corey's like, ooh, are we censoring some issues here? So they try to get out of that hole, but before really they're able to, Naomi interrupts, and she's like, I want to take both you guys on. And so Corey steps in and he's like, hey, what if we put Sasha's or whoever goes first against Asuka, put that on the line in a Beat the Clock challenge.
Happy birthday to Larson.
They
Beat the
knew
Clock
that's
challenge.
your favorite stipulation match.
One of my
Larson.
favorites. I love me a Beat the Clock challenge. So up first, Sasha versus Naomi. I should have made note of the time. It was about 3.5 minutes. Sasha puts Naomi in the bank statement. Naomi taps. Bayley hits the ring immediately, starts beating up Naomi. Ref Drake separates them, allowing Naomi time to recover. Bell rings. Bayley just goes after Naomi. And like she's beating the heck out of him, until Naomi blocks a knee strike from Bayley, hits rear view for the win, and they cut to Sasha, and she's laughing. Just weight off her shoulders.
She's super laughing. She got hit with the rear view. Bayley sold this. Bayley's so good these days. She sold that rear view like it was a legitimate finisher. It was great.
Yeah, it was great.
So good.
And Sasha's just letting out a huge belly laugh, essentially. It was like her Vince laugh she does now.
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah,
but she's
really
so
fantastic.
Relieved. Yeah. And so Asuka comes out. She drops a promo, says at SummerSlam she'll be the Empress of every title. No one is ready for Asuka. Sasha runs up the ramp. She eats a kick to the head. Then Asuka runs down the ring, hits Bayley with a Shining Wizard, kicks her out of the ring. Bayley goes, grabs her belts, and just sprints up the ramp right past Sasha. Doesn't even check on her. While Asuka's dancing in the ring, the Bayley finally's like, all right, I'll go check on Sasha. So she walks back down the ramp, checks on Sasha.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
They're really sowing the seeds of discontent between Bayley and Sasha. Starting to.
After that, we've got Jeff Hardy testing his knee out. Finally,
he got a knee brace.
He got a knee brace.
Give me the knee brace. I got a knee brace.
Trainer's like, all right, man, if you're cool with the pain, then I'll clear you. Sure.
I'm not sure that's how it works. If you got kicked in the back of the knee, you feel like there's structural damage. You want to go get some imaging done,
Nah, it's just a casual conversation with some random trainer.
Oh, your knee bent the wrong way? Slap a brace on there. You handle pain? You're good.
You're good. I'm going to clear you. Got a staph infection? You're good. Go ahead. After that,
have a Z-Pack, Jeff.
This was great. Yeah. Poop your pants. After this, Sonya Deville backstage. She was about to have an interview, but she was like, what I have to say, I'm going to say to the whole world. Dana Brooke comes and says, oh, Sonya, I'm so sorry about what happened to you this weekend. And Sonya says, it's nothing I can't handle. Slaps the shit out of Dana Brooke. And then just says, disrespectful.
Oh, so good.
So she stomps out. She comes out. And go ahead, because I know you pop big for this. I pop big for this. This is great, and I want to know where you're headed with this.
So Sonya Deville comes out and she says, I heard what Mandy had to say, and she gets it. She's second-guessing her own challenge, what Sonya said Mandy was going to do. What she doesn't understand is, what does Mandy want? Because she's going to end up facing her one way or another at SummerSlam. Sonya says, I don't give a damn if I'm bald or not. I want to raise the stakes. It's going to be no DQ, and on top of that, loser leaves WWE. I thought it might be Smackdown, but loser leaves WWE.
WWE, yeah.
Because Sonya says, hair or no hair, I'm tired of looking at your face, Mandy, and you better bring your A game. And then she called her a B.
Yeah, a biatch. So, before you give your fantasy book on where you think this might be headed, because there's a couple things here. Sonya Deville obviously just went through something pretty traumatic, or potentially could be traumatic, over the weekend when this dude freaking tried to. So maybe she's looking to get some time off. The Enforcer here has the best scenario, and this is brilliant because it would reinforce what we've seen in Sonya Deville, and maybe Vince has seen. So he says here, what if Sonya wins, and Otis comes down and gives her. But she would, number one, she is a much more viable Money in the Bank winner, I guess, or holder than Otis is.
Oh, yeah.
What if he gives her Money in the Bank and Asuka has to go through 2 matches? What if Sonya cashes in at SummerSlam after beating Mandy and getting Money in the Bank from Otis to save Mandy's job?
That'd be something else, man.
Wouldn't that be insane? Because
That'd be
then
amazing.
If that Money in the Bank is good for the one title that you won, maybe you can't use it for 2 titles. If she used that for the SmackDown Championship and Asuka has both of them, Sonya walks out with the SmackDown Championship, Asuka walks out with the Raw Championship. There you go. That would be crazy. That'd be insane.
That'd be pretty cool. That'd be great
I'd
for
love
Sonya.
it.
That'd be
I'd
great.
love it.
That'd be
Yeah.
great. That'd be fantastic.
What were you thought like before I
Well,
start
I know,
rambling that
the situation happened with Sonya, which was terrible. It's entirely possible that following that she might want to take a bit of time off. We've also heard that she's been pursuing some acting opportunities. Maybe this is an opportunity. Maybe she's got something that's more or less a sure thing on the horizon. This is an opportunity for her to step away for a bit to do that.
Is it still hair versus hair, or is it just loser leaves?
Yeah, she says she wants to up the ante, raise the stakes. So
Which
I guess
includes the hair versus hair.
I would think.
You would think.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, she's terrific. She's absolutely
so
terrific.
Good. She's so
terrific.
Good. She's amazing. Amazing. After that, we had a pretty extended Braun, Bray, Alexa Bliss recap. Following that was a Nikki Cross promo. She said, hey, Alexa and I have been friends for a while. I know Alexa. And when I spoke to her on Tuesday, something seemed off. She was different. She wasn't warm or funny. The person I spoke to was apparently neither of those things. And it scares her. She says, I have a feeling that something terrible is about to happen.
After that, we had Intercontinental Championship title match. But before that, during the entrances, rather, Daniel Bryan has a Matt Chat question. Some people here say, Shane's birthday tweet says, I believe it's replacing hair versus hair. Okay, so O-Dog says, WWE Twitter said it changed to no DQ, loser leaves WWE. Didn't say anything about hair versus hair.
Okay.
Because if somebody's leaving, I know that the trope is you win the match and then you shave the head. If somebody's leaving, though, what's the besides the visual?
Yeah.
But I just didn't know.
Usually upping the ante. She said upping
you
the
include the original ante.
Exactly, the original bet, essentially. So getting back to this match, granted, the technology behind Thunderdome, they might not be confident enough to do this. I felt like this, in a lot of ways, would have been a good proving ground for whether Thunderdome could have provided, if technology existed to get genuine reaction from people who are watching via Zoom. A good litmus test to see if this is something that could work in terms of providing some sort of environment that's at least a percentage of what we're used to with fans in the arena, because it's a match where Jeff Hardy walks into this bout hampered by a knee injury at the hands of AJ at the beginning of the show, and you got the underdog babyface pulling out a gutty win to close out your show in the main event. Like, if this had happened in front of crowds, the crowd would have lost their shit,
Big time, yeah.
So this leads me to believe technology is not there. WWE is not comfortable enough with technology to have this, which should have been the main event in a lot of respects, close the show, because it's not, whether they can't do it based on what they have in front of them. This match, which should have main event, which in the arena setting would have blown the roof off the place, they can't get that yet.
So your point about what you just said is the thing. It's impossible to blow the roof off a place at this point. That being said, there was something very underwhelming about title changes that took place at the Performance Center, even with the 50 people in attendance. I felt less underwhelmed by this title change personally. It's maybe you felt just as underwhelmed as the Performance Center victories. I felt that just the setting itself was enough to make it feel like a bigger deal.
I think part of it at the Performance Center is a smaller venue, even with or without fans. It feels like a smaller place, so by nature of that, and it's unfair maybe to say this, in terms of WWE programming, it feels less important.
When a title change happened at Full Sail, to the Full Sail crowd, it's great. But it never had the magnitude of a title change at TakeOver, just simply by virtue of size.
It's a smaller stage.
Yeah.
And by virtue of the fact this was a basketball arena, you take out the Zoom calls. It's a larger venue. The spectacle is there. So I understand that aspect of it. The fan experience, even at the Performance Center when the title change, I can't think of anything outside of pay-per-view where that's happened. They tell the crowd to pop, so there's celebration happening. Mm-hmm. So you get the illusion of some reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just a different thing. I don't necessarily feel more or less underwhelmed. I guess I'm just whelmed. I don't know. It's going to take some getting used to. I guess the idea of Thunderdome, if they're having fans in to provide a reaction to the action going on, that's a work in progress, obviously.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I wonder if they will be. I mean, I'm sure they will continue to tinker with it. Vince will probably look at it and say, hey, it looks great, but maybe let's work on getting like a legitimate if they can. I have no idea. But yeah, for me personally, like the performance center title changes always just felt kind of sad and lonely, even when like the performance center recruits are there. This felt a little less just for me. I don't know.
I mean, I think by virtue of the scale of the venue, that if nothing else, that will do it.
Yeah.
So anyways, Jeff Hardy shows up in the knee brace, and after getting the advantage early on, AJ just goes after it. Rips Jeff's pants in the leg area, exposing the knee brace, and just works over the knee of the entire match. Jeff will try to mount bits of offense, can't do it. Eventually, though, AJ looks for a Styles Clash, and Hardy hits AJ with the knee brace. Hits a Twist of Fate, goes up top, hits a Swanton to get the W. This next bit was a bit weird. So there's an interview with Hardy afterwards. He's asked by Kayla, wasn't mean to be IC champ. He's like, hey, if you told me a year ago I'd be champion, I'd tell you were crazy. But life's always a challenge. But he stands there with a sore knee. But more than that, he stands there with hope. He does this for everyone who is struggling. And then they pulled an Oscars ceremony and started playing his music in the middle of his promo.
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't imagine that because I was like, I was face deep in a shredded chicken burrito.
Nice.
Yeah, it was from Taco Bell, so it smelled like a fart. But
it tasted like a tasty fart, I'm sure. Yeah.
It was really good. It's always good. Yeah. It's good. It's a good taste. So I'm like sitting there. Oh yeah, it's so good. And I hear him say, "Oh man, WWE, it's so great to." And then doom. And I was like, "The fuck just happened there? Why did they just start playing him off the stage?" Yeah, that was weird. Anyways, AJ backstage is pissed off. He's yelling at Joseph Park. He's saying, look, he hit me with a knee brace. Look at my face. He hit me with a knee brace.
Said he won only because he cheated. Jeff Hardy. Anyways, after that, we got Firefly Funhouse. Bray's putting over the Thunderdome. He's like, hey, come closer. Camera moves in closer. He says, I need to tell you something. I love you.
He's like Big Red.
I know. He's like, what was the Tick's pet?
Spoon.
No, that's what he said. Spoon.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't that his name?
I guess it was his name, yeah. And he goes, I love you.
I love you.
He says, don't be fooled, Fireflies, because love can be a really terrible thing because it can trick you into an emotional burden. Too much love can turn a field of sunflowers into a wasteland. He says he talks to the Hurt Glove a bit. He says, take Braun and Alexa, for example. Here's a Shakespearean tragedy. He presents Firefly Funhouse. You got Huskus as Braun, Rambling Rabbit with a wig as Bliss. And it doesn't go anything like it actually happened. They're, in fact, about to make up, perhaps embrace or kiss. Bray says, cut. What are you guys doing? This is not at all how it went down. And they both say, hey, we got lost in the moment. Bray tells them, get lost.
So after that, he starts to smell dirty Braun in the air.
Yeah,
and he's like,
what took you so long?
What took you so long? I like that moment. And then, so then they go at it. They start attacking, or Braun attacks him.
Yeah, Braun attacks, and then as he's dragging Bray out of the funhouse, what does he say? I'm not finished with you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Full-on monster, smooth Braun.
It's great. So they go to commercial, come back, and then I don't know why they did this. Why not just cut right to the brawl backstage? They cut the commentaries like, oh, we're trying to get camera crews assembled because there's a huge brawl going on backstage between Braun and Bray Wyatt. And then they talk for like 2 minutes. Maybe it's less than that. I don't know, but it felt like an eternity. I was like, just cut to the fight already.
Yeah, maybe it was a timing miscue because
it could be. I don't know.
That had to have been because they obviously they did pre-film the Bray Braun stuff. They probably had to kill 2 minutes, man.
Maybe.
Why did they shoot Jeff Hardy off the stage then?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so they're backstage. They're brawling. Braun chokeslams Bray off a parking platform and just walks away. They back an ambulance up. Medics put Bray on the gurney. I don't know why these guys who put Bray on the gurney, they didn't put him on a board. They one guy grabbed him by his arms, the other by the leg, and tried to put him on the gurney. I'm like, that is the opposite way you're supposed to do that.
It's like the scene in Semi-Pro.
Yeah.
Somebody ends up falling. They just carry him out, and he's all dangling. They're doing an absolutely terrible job stabilizing his spine.
Someone's got a spinal injury potentially. That's the absolute worst thing to do anyway. So they eventually get him on the gurney, wheel him into the ambulance. They do go to a replay. They come back, and Adam Pearce is just yelling at the ambulance.
Who?
Adam Pearce.
Scrap iron.
To leave, get out of here. And the ambulance finally starts moving, and then it starts moving slowly, and then it stops, and then it starts to back up. And Adam Pearce is like, "What are you doing?"
They do this great shot too. Like the camera pans over, and Pierce is like in the foreground. Everybody starts backing up, and then like you see their face, react to what they're seeing, which is the Fiend coming from the ambulance, because the camera pans back over, and it's the Fiend with like. Well,
they knew something was going to happen because the lights inside the ambulance went from blue to red.
Yeah, from blue to red. Yeah.
So they knew something was up.
So it ended with the Fiend it just ended with the Fiend standing there, right?
Yeah, and he's laughing, sticking his tongue out and laughing. That's it.
Yeah.
It's kind of underwhelming.
I thought it was as good. I'll put it this way. I thought it was a more again, I know the bar is low. I thought it was an effective go home for SummerSlam, more so than the main event segment on Raw for that particular rivalry.
Again,
which is a match I'm actually
so low.
Looking forward to more anyways. We'll see. I mean, I like what they've done. I like what they've done with Braun.
Yeah. You want to do some questions, yeah?
Yes, I have a Patreon thread opened up here. I'll go ahead and start. Sean OC, with many similarities between Retribution and the Dark Order, like constantly growing and was really slow out the gate. Do you think WWE... Oh, by the way, Dijak was totally there tonight.
Yeah.
The guy who yelled, everybody scramble, okay? All right. We'll go to Arby's. Retribution. Meet up at Arby's.
Yeah.
Do you think WWE has the ability to turn Retribution around like AEW did with the Dark Order? If Miz was introduced as their leader, I'd be totally into it. I'd be totally into it.
Yeah.
Count me in.
Yeah. Have Dijak lead him. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Dagon.
We got the meat.
I tried my best to be one of the people to be on cam. I had the Fiend mask, the Friendo shirt ready, but no, I was too late. So apparently you could register and you could sign up, but if you don't make it in on time, you're it's no good. Yeah.
I don't know if Spulak got on.
He said no.
Oh,
okay.
I
think he said watch out that.
Let's see here. Will Hate. Most anticipated SmackDown match at SummerSlam. Dude, mine at this point might be that Mandy Rose Sonya Deville match.
Could be.
Does Big E have a match? I don't think Big E has a match.
Does not. Broken freaking neck with some bits. If they're mentioning Sonya's situation on TV, it's canon within SmackDown universe. And who was with Sonya when the break-in happened? Mandy honestly raises a lot of questions. I mean, they
pick and choose what they kayfabe.
They didn't reference it directly. They kind of talked around the situation. So
even if they do reference it, they're not going to reference Mandy. Like what's kayfabe is what's mentioned on camera. So yeah, you're right. They reference something happened.
Yeah. O-Dog, Tyson Fury, and Drew McIntyre have been tweeting each other about a super match. Thoughts? I mean, Drew better win if that happens.
Hey, is it weird? Okay, so out of 8 matches, 1, 2, 3 are SmackDown matches. Sasha, Asuka, Dominic, Seth, Apollo Crews, MVP, Drew, Randy, Street Profits.
You mean they might, since the Intercontinental title match wasn't the main event tonight, there's a possibility they might add a rematch on the show.
I could see that. They might give Big E a pre-show match.
Possible.
I just find it interesting.
Possible. Yeah, have him fight Sheamus again or something.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely, regardless, they're getting a rematch.
Cyfixia, would you want to see John Wick, Sonya Deville in Raw Underground? Yeah.
I would actually love if Raw Underground it was considered like a place to go if you were not in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that, and I would love Sonya Deville there. I think it'd be great. Well, I don't know, man. SmackDown's a much bigger platform than being on Raw Underground at this point. I wanted to see her go up. I want to see her on SmackDown and be the champion.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a good one. Alex Foster, what other wrestling moments should be acted out in the Firefly Funhouse? I would say they should act out the backstage SummerSlam 2010 story of Wade Barrett finding out that he's losing to
Going
John
up to Arn
Cena.
Anderson and Arn telling him to talk to Vince, all that. That's good.
That's what I want to see.
I'll keep with the Arn theme.
Oh, good.
Arn and Sid. Scissors.
Jesus, that's dark. That's in line with Firefly Funhouse, though.
Fear and Loathing asks, how does it feel? Larson, how does it feel that you will forever share a birthday with Thunderdome?
That's right.
So myself, Sam Vopni, Adam Pacitti.
Pacitti, yeah.
Thunderdome, and I think Wilt Chamberlain. Birthday.
Oh man, the ultimate smash burger. That dude smashed and smashed and smashed. James Rodriguez.
Yeah, August 21st.
Which superstar have you been a fan of in 2020 so far that you weren't a fan of in 2019?
Oh, good question.
So I'm not going to say I wasn't necessarily a fan of his.
Otis is your answer.
I'm over him now. That was a fleeting moment.
That was quick.
By Beach. They haven't done anything with him. They haven't taken one step in legitimizing him.
Nope.
I'm going to say this. I have become a bigger fan of John Morrison in 2020 than I was of him any time prior to that.
That's a good answer. I don't know if I could top that. Dangam Q, any predictions for Balor versus Thatcher for TakeOver since that was announced yesterday? I mean, Finn's got to win that one, right?
Yeah, they've given Thatcher a bunch of wins, but Finn's too big to lose to Thatcher. So, yeah. Michael Halloran. Did WWE miss the best opportunity for Otis to cash in tonight after Braun got beat down by Retribution?
Oh, he wasn't beat up for that long.
He was not down for long.
Jorge D, with Joseph Parks being an official character on WWE, would you guys have them use Abyss 2? If so, against 2? I believe Abyss is probably the character, the IP is property of Impact Wrestling.
I would think so, but he had a lot of sway there, so maybe it's possible that he could have taken, or he could have.
That's true. Was he doing Abyss before TNA?
I have no idea.
If so, then if that's the case, then it was probably I'd hope for his bottom line, it was a licensing deal, and that's a character that he owns.
I also just don't know like how physical he can get these days. I think the last time I forget what the last match. I think it was like a couple of years ago when I was doing Impact reviews when Del Rio was around. Wasn't there like a last man standing or a hardcore match or something, and it was a turd?
Oh, maybe.
I forget. Oh,
that sounds right. Yeah.
Kenny T. I think it's safe. This is the answer for who I've become a fan of in 2020. MVP.
Oh, yeah.
He says, I think it's safe to say none of us had high expectations when MVP came back to WWE earlier this year. He's been doing some really good work, powering people above 40 aside from Punk who need to come back to WWE. That's it. Those are the answers. Punk and MVP. Really, MVP, my God.
Who'd have thought that?
Who'd have thought? That's like the most unexpected, like awesome, positive story.
What about PCO? Solus. How long do you give it before Vince's patience runs thin with the crowds that he can't control the reactions of? I don't know if it's so much the crowds he can't control the reaction of, because that was the case in arenas anyways. I think it'd be more a thing where it's like, well, I got 1,000 people here and no one's doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I honestly think that if they were to bring in, more people, like the heads are too big. Make them smaller. Like, do the thing, like, so on Zoom, you can do a background. You can make a digital background, right?
Yeah, isn't that what the NBA does? It looks like in the NBA, it looks like everybody's in seats.
Everybody has like the same. Yeah, they all look like. Yeah, you're right. They all look like they're in seats. Make the people smaller. Give them all the same like digital background that like looks cool, looks busy, but not like so busy they get distracted.
Yeah.
TV starts blowing out. I think they could get there now, and then somehow, some way, get the crowd audio and the latency thing figured out, and then you might be there.
Yeah.
Guilty.
I mean, that's kind of where they're at now. White Brownie with Triple H mentioning NXT being part of the draft. What 5 wrestlers would you send to NXT? 2 men, 2 women, 1 tag team. Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens for sure.
He's not doing anything.
Mustafa Ali.
Okay, I was gonna say Daniel Bryan.
I wonder when. Remember, I mean, he said that he was basically putting out on when his kid was born. Like he said, after Mania, like his contract is going to be super part time.
Yeah.
I would love to see him in NXT, but like, I mean, given that he's probably not going to be around, but man, that'd be amazing.
It'd be amazing. Two women.
Great.
I don't know if main roster could, or Raw or SmackDown could spare a tag team unless they're getting another tag team in return. Just the tag division across the board would be so thin.
But it might actually. Naomi has a pretty big groundswell of support behind her, and I was really glad tonight that they did this. If they made sure to like not make it look like a demotion, it might be cool to see her like get some takeover cred. You know?
Yeah.
That could be fun.
That could be fun. But I don't know about a tag team. Like, there's just no depth anywhere.
There's 0 tag teams.
Yeah.
WWE, the main roster has no tag teams.
Ryan Rubik's Cube, what is more likely, Alexa interfering with Braun and Fiend, or Retribution interfering with any other title match on Sunday?
I think that Alexa getting Fiend that title is like a damn certainty.
You should have made that prop bet.
Like, that's totally happening.
Yep.
Greg Morris, wouldn't it be interesting if the Fiend wants the title so he can corrupt WWE from the top down? Yeah, sure. If he could do that.
Sure. Dr. Steve Winters, happy birthday, Larson. There's questions on the Discord. Thank you, Dr. Steve Winters.
Punk Rock Jesus, new patron, by the way. Thank you, Punk Rock Jesus. Says Thunderdome has big faces in the crowd but no noise. What is the point? It's to make it look busier. It's to make it look like there are people there.
I guess the point of having people there, whether they're performance center students or whatnot, is reaction.
Yeah.
Because that's what live crowds bring to everything is reaction. It allows performers to feed off that reaction. That's still kind of missing.
It's like 30% there, because there are people there, and some of them put their thumbs up or thumbs down.
Kind of.
But there's like 70%. That's a big chunk.
But when
70%.
people are doing this, part of me just kind of wonders, they realize they're on camera and just saying hi everybody, thumbs up.
Yeah, probably. Because I saw people doing it and it didn't make any sense to do it. I'm like, what are you giving a thumbs down to?
That's what it is.
Why are you doing that?
Dr. Lipkin, Drew beats Randy and Randy goes to NXT. That'd be great.
Oh. How great would that be?
Ridiculosity. You'll never see it coming. Roman Reigns is the leader of Retribution.
See, that I wouldn't be into. It's so beneath him. Miz, it's above him.
It's above him.
Yes, it is. That's why it'd be cool for him to lead them. Because it'd be a step up for him. It'd be him doing something cool.
Solus, what things do you think WWE could do that would engage the virtual crowd more? Because that's what's missing. It's people just sitting around.
I don't know.
That dude's sleeping,
Tape. I don't know. Like, I sit at a wrestling show, I'm like, but then something happens, I'm like,
yeah, something happens, you'll react, and that's the thing. There's you still need reactions.
I don't know. Make them do this. Make them smaller. Have everybody like widen out their shots so that it's not just like their big dumb heads, Because sometimes body moves like, oh, whoa, I can't believe what I just saw.
Yeah, could be.
Because, dude, if it's just like this wall of heads and something crazy happens, everybody goes, that'd be weird too.
I know. Hugh Longheavy says Baron leads Retribution for WB, screwed him over so many times. But then he won King of the Ring. So.
Church Jackson here in the Patreon also thought that he thinks Otis might give up the briefcase to save Mandy. My peach. My lovely peach. And then she swerves him.
And then Otis is just wrecked. It's ruined.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, man. Gregory Faea has it right. He says, what theme song is better when they got lyrics? He says Stone Cold or Kane. And why is it Kane? It's totally Kane, but I'm telling you, man, I kind of dig that Stone Cold one. Who is it? Disturbed? Oh, what the...
No, not for me.
Let's see here. Moses supposes outside of kayfabe, who is the best wrestler that Vince McMahon thinks he is a better wrestler than? You think Vince McMahon thinks he's a better wrestler than Bret Hart?
No.
Nah, he doesn't. No. Who's the best wrestler?
Do you think Vince thinks he's a better wrestler than Hogan?
No, because Vince has seen his work in Japan.
Oh, maybe.
Do you think Vince thinks he's a better wrestler than Shane? Do you think Vince is a better wrestler? I think
Vince is actually a terrible wrestler. He's a decent performer. He's a terrible wrestler.
Yeah, but those worked punches from Shane are so bad.
But Shane is actually athletic. He can do things athletically that Vince can't even dream of.
Okay, so when I think of it, I mean back when Vince was 50.
Shane's worked punches look worse now than they did 20 years ago.
Okay, compare Shane now to Vince when he was like fighting Stone Cold and Hogan and stuff like that.
Again, I think like Vince's worked punches were not good either. If I remember correctly. Again, Vince was a good performer, terrible wrestler.
Yeah.
Shane is not a good wrestler, but at least he's got the athletic advantage over his old man. He could do coast to coast, which still, like now, is arguably even more impressive. That's he's 50 years old and still more or less pull that off.
His coast to coast is pretty good.
Yeah. Yame says, what about adding like a Cyber Sunday function where fans can interact with the matches and judge stipulations or such?
Guilty.
That's a shoot and not completely worked.
No, I don't want that.
What about everybody gives their star ratings right after the match?
Well, what about this? What if everybody has a soundboard of like cheers and boos and stuff?
Yeah, what? CM Punk. You deserve it. Asshole.
All right, man, we're going to cut it off there. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Once again, man, happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for the birthday wishes. Much appreciated. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow, and until then, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson.